Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you, whether you are watching live with us this afternoon or whether you're watching later on the replay. My name is David Miles, and I'm on a mission to help mortgage brokers and financial advisors like you to generate a consistent flow of leads from your own websites so as you can stop stressing about where your next client is coming from. Now, as many of you know, one of the main tools that I recommend that people use in order to generate leads in financial services is Google Ads. Now, a lot of people, though, they're put off from using Google Ads either because maybe they've tried it in the past and they've lost money, or they've heard horror stories about other people who've tried it and lost a load of money. Now, over the years that I've been working in this sector and working with Google Ads, I've audited hundreds, or probably thousands actually, of Google Ads accounts. And the reasons that when people do lose money on Google Ads, the reasons that they do so, it always seems to come back to one of a handful of problems or mistakes that nearly all advertisers tend to make. So what I'm going to do today is highlight what I think some of those biggest mistakes are, and crucially, of course, tell you as well how you can avoid making them. So whether you're already running Google Ads and want to get better results, this will help you with that. If you haven't started running Google Ads yet, then this is the perfect thing, because this is going to tell you all those pitfalls to avoid falling into, so as you can do it right the first time. So just before we start, if you haven't already done so, do say hello in the comments, and also perhaps just put something in there. It's always useful to know sort of what stage people are at with this. So perhaps just put something in the comments as well to tell me whether you've currently got Google Ads running, whether you've tried it in the past, or whether this is something that you are yet to try for yourself. I do want to get questions from you as well. So as we go through, if you've got a question on anything that I'm talking about or anything vaguely related to it, then do put something in the comments. And once I've run through the presentation, I will have a look at the comments and answer any questions there. If you're not live with us today, if you're watching this on the replay, do feel free to put questions in as well, because as always, I will keep an eye on the comments section over the next few days. And if I see any new comments appearing from people who've watched this on the replay, I will go in and answer those for you as well. Okay, so with that bit of housekeeping and stuff out of the way, let me just turn on the screen share and then we can get going. Okay, good. So hopefully you could all see the slides again now. So I've got 7 mistakes that I'm going to go through today. So the first of them, first area where I find people often go wrong and where they therefore spend more money than they need to, is that they have too many keywords in their Google Ads account, whether that's all in one campaign or spread across lots of different campaigns. So if you're not familiar with the concept of keywords, basically what we're talking about here is as an advertiser using Google Ads, you set up keywords, you tell Google keywords, and these are the things that you think will be related to what your potential customers type into Google when they're looking for your products or services. So if you're a financial advisor, one of your keywords might be financial advisor. If you're a mortgage broker, your keywords might be things like mortgage broker or mortgage advisor. They're the kinds of things you think that your potential clients will type in when they're looking for someone like you or the products or services that you provide. And as I say, that often the issue is that people have far too many keywords. Now, you might think that's a bit odd, because you think, well, surely, you want to appear for as many different kinds of searches as possible. So the more keywords, the better. And you'd be forgiven for thinking that as well, because existing Google Ads users will know that every time you log into your account, or virtually every time you log in, Google's always suggesting new keywords that you could add to your campaign. So they seem to think it's a good idea for you to have lots of keywords as well. But the reality is, and the reason why it's not always a good idea, is the more keywords you add, the more danger there is that you end up bidding on keywords which don't show the correct search intent. In other words, they're not keywords which show intent for someone to purchase a product or service. So to give you an example, in the context of the mortgage industry, if you go after keywords like mortgage rates or mortgage calculators, you may get some leads from those, but the chances are, based on on my own experience of it and and what those keywords indicate, there's a very good chance that someone who's searching for mortgage calculator, for example, isn't actually looking to get help from a mortgage broker or a mortgage advisor at this stage. They're simply looking for an online tool to help them work out what their mortgage repayments will be. Maybe on a mortgage that they've already taken out or something like that. So what you need to do is focus on the keywords which do show the right kind of search intent. So a keyword like mortgage broker near me, that someone's only going to type that in if they're looking to get help from a mortgage broker. Whereas the keyword mortgage rates, someone who types that into Google, they might want to get the latest rates from a mortgage broker, or equally, they might be looking to just get a table of rates themselves to do their own research and ultimately go and arrange their own mortgage. So very often, when I'm working one-to-one with people where I'm taking over managing their Google Ads accounts when they've been doing it themselves, very often one of the first things I end up doing is actually reducing the number of keywords in their account. Going through it, seeing the ones which don't show the correct kind of search intent, and stripping those ones out. So it's definitely a case with keywords that very often less is more, and you need to be focusing on those keywords which are likely to be typed in by the warmer prospects, not by those who are just thinking about a mortgage or thinking about financial advice, the tire kickers, basically. So that's number one, the wrong match types. The next one, the number one was the wrong keyword, having too many keywords. The second one is the wrong match types. So match types, if you're not familiar with what that means in the context of Google Ads, the match type is what helps Google determine whether the search term that someone enters into Google is close enough to a keyword that you're bidding on to allow your advert to appear. Okay. Now, and there are different match types you can use. And the problem is that the default setting, if you don't know anything about match types and you just put in your list of keywords, the default is that Google will use a match type called broad match. And as the name implies, that means that your ad will show up when someone types in the keyword you're bidding on or something which is broadly related to it. So for example, if you had the keyword in your account, mortgage broker Cambridge, which shows a nice degree of search intent. If you're a mortgage broker in Cambridge and someone types into Google mortgage broker Cambridge, there's a pretty good chance they're looking for what you offer. So if you were to bid on that keyword as a broad match, though, you would also get found for a lot of irrelevant searches, like, for example, if someone typed into Google mortgage broker jobs in Cambridge. Now, that's someone you wouldn't want seeing and clicking on your ad, unless, of course, you happen to be recruiting for new team members at that point. So by going with Google's default, you will end up appearing for a lot of irrelevant searches. And for a lot of those irrelevant searches, the person will still click on your advert. And so you'll be wasting money on people who are looking for jobs, who are, carrying out research. I've seen accounts where people had their keywords set up wrong and they were paying money for clicks from people who searched things like, what does a mortgage broker earn, or what are mortgage broker salaries? And similar things for financial advisors. So my advice would be that you restrict yourself to only using phrase and exact matches, at least to begin with, because that will give you more control. And the way you do that is that when you set up your campaigns and you put your keywords in, you put them in quote marks if you want them to be phrase match, and you put them in square brackets to make them exact match. And that will give you far more control over what kind of searches you appear for. It'd be far more, you'd be far more predictable what kinds of people are going to be seeing your ads. And the third mistake, which again is another one around keywords, is people don't use any or enough negative keywords. So what a negative keyword does, it's a way that as the advertiser, you can tell Google not to show your advert in response to certain types of searches, if people include certain words in their search. So if I gave the example just now of someone searching for mortgage broker jobs in Cambridge and the ad appearing, well, if you didn't want that to happen, you could put the word jobs as a negative keyword in your campaign. And that's your way of saying to Google, if someone includes the word jobs in their search, I don't want my ad to appear. And because there would be other variations of that, you might put vacancies as a negative. Something else which is generally best off to have as a negative is to put lender names, the names of mortgage lenders, put those in as negative keywords. Or, you know, if you're a financial advisor, put in the names of the big insurance companies and investment companies, because generally, and this isn't, you know, this isn't a foolproof and all the time, but generally, if someone is searching for something like Santander mortgages, they probably want to do the arranging of the mortgage themselves. They're probably not looking to talk to a mortgage broker. So most of the time you could actually reduce a lot of wasted spend in your account just by making a list of all the lenders you can think of and putting all of those in as negatives. Again, a couple of mortgage specific ones, having something like 100% and no deposit as negatives will help you weed out the people who are searching for things like, where can I get 100% mortgage, or where can I get a mortgage if I've got no deposit? You know, with the way the market is at the moment, you cannot help those people. So why would you want them seeing your ads, clicking on them and costing you money? If you're a financial advisor, let's say you're running Google Ads campaigns around pension advice, you might want to use the phrase state pension as a negative keyword, because if you don't, you're going to end up appearing for a lot of searches with people searching things like, you know, how much is the state pension this year, or, you know, or what age can I draw my state pension, or how can I find out how much state pension I'll get? And those probably aren't people that you want seeing and clicking on your ad. You want to be focusing on the people who are specifically searching for, you know, financial advisor for pensions advice, or, you know, things like that. If you're bidding on keywords to do with attracting people who want to take out an ISA, you might want to put cash ISA as a negative keyword, so you're only getting the people who want to take out stocks and shares based ISAs, where obviously your advice is more needed and your potential to earn money is greater as well. So think about your negative keywords, both in terms of the ones that might apply, you know, to lots of different industries like jobs and vacancies, etc. And other things like books, courses. You know, people will search for things like, where can I find a course to become a mortgage broker? You know, things like that, or where can I get training to become an IFA? So all those kind of things around apprenticeships, training, courses, books, jobs, vacancies, those are very sort of standard negative keywords that we needed across lots of industries. And then within financial services, there are going to be specific things like the lender names and state pension and so on. The next mistake is that people, and this is a mistake actually that applies beyond just the world of Google Ads, is mortgage brokers and financial advisors not understanding the benefits of niching their businesses. Now, what I mean by that is, you know, instead of trying to advertise for just, for example, anyone and everyone who wants a mortgage, you're far better off within your Google Ads campaigns focusing on specific niches, particular sectors of the mortgage market. So whether that's mortgages for people in certain types of professions, or mortgages for particular kinds of properties or financial situations, all of those things, by focusing on those, they'll give you better results within your Google Ads campaigns, because the more niche you are with your targeting and with the keywords that you bid on, the less competition you're going to have. You know, there will be thousands of mortgage brokers who are bidding on the keyword mortgage broker or mortgage advice. There will be a lot less who are bidding on keywords like mortgages for construction workers, mortgages for IT contractors, mortgages for listed buildings, mortgages for people paid on commission. You know, those kinds of more niche keywords will have less competition. And also, by targeting those things, you can actually then present yourself as the specialist in those particular areas, which means people in those sectors and those niches are then more likely to want to work with you, because you're clearly the specialist in that sector. If that's something which is a completely new concept to you and you're thinking, okay, I'm not sure about that, but I'd like to know more about it, have a look in the videos section in this Facebook group, because niching is something I've talked about in a lot more detail before. I'm pretty sure I did a whole Facebook Live just around niching at some point last year. There's also articles about it on my blog. And for those of you who are members of the Predictable Pipeline program, you know, my membership scheme, there is a whole course just around niching that helps you understand the benefits of it, and crucially helps you choose which niches to focus on as well. So it really is a really important thing to assist not just your Google Ads, but all other aspects of your marketing as well. So the next mistake that I see people make with Google Ads, I've lost track of what number we're on now. I think this is about number 6, is that they have poor quality ads. Okay, so the actual ads that appear in response to those searches are not good enough. And the ads tend to be poor in one of two ways. The first thing that people do is they don't have strong ad copy. So the actual text of your ads needs to stand out from the crowd, because there's going to be typically 4 ads appearing at the top of the search results page and another 3 at the bottom. So your ad is going to be one of 7 ads on that page. So why should someone click on your ad rather than one of your competitors' ads? And the reason they'll click on your ad, hopefully, is because you've got things in your ad that don't appear in other people's. You've got benefits in there and unique selling points that differentiate you from all of your competitors. So the mistake a lot of people make is they have very kind of factual ads that just say, we can help you with mortgages for first-time buyers, home movers, remortgages, or we can help you set up a pension and fine-tune your investments, or things like that. And what they don't focus on is the customer and the outcomes that they get. So so what you need to do instead is talk about the actual benefits, about the fact, but can you help people get their mortgage faster? Can you help them get a cheaper mortgage? Can you help them release more money from their pension? Can what are the actual tangible benefits and outcomes that people are going to get from working with you? And those are the things that need to come through in your ads. That second point I put there about not having enough ads. Again, a very common mistake is people will set up their Google Ads campaign and they'll just have a single advert. And that's a bad idea for a number of reasons. Firstly, if you only have one ad, you can't be testing out different wordings. So I've just said you need to include benefits and unique selling points in your ads. Well, maybe you've got lots of different things. You think, I've got a whole list of ideas I could put in my ads here. I can't possibly fit them all in. Well, that's a reason to have more than one ad, because you could have one ad that talks about one set of benefits and one ad that talks about another. And over time, because Google will alternate the ads, over time, you'll get to see which ad develops a higher click-through rate, gets more clicks per 100 impressions. And that will tell you which set of benefits is more appealing to your potential clients. And then you can pause the ad that's not performing as well and write another one. So you're always trying to get better and better results. The other reason why you need more than one ad is it's really important that your ad is always highly relevant to the keyword that made it appear, to the search term that the user put in. And of course, if you've only got one ad, there's no way one ad can be highly relevant to, let's say, 50 different keywords. So you need to have lots of different ads, each one linked to just a small number of keywords. So if, for example, someone searches for pension advisor in Manchester, they'll see an ad that talks about pension advisors in Manchester. Whereas if they search for retirement planning in Liverpool, they need to see an ad that talks about retirement planning in Liverpool. And obviously you can only do that if you've got more than one ad. Okay. Those of you, I'm sure there's something on here who came to the webinar that I ran recently on setting up Google Ads. Don't forget, if you came to that, one of the things I gave away at that was a swipe file of different ideas for mortgage brokers on, examples of good ads and ideas of things that you could put in your ads. So do refer back to that if you've got it, or if you're a member of the Predictable Pipeline program, look in the community, because I've put a copy of it in there for you guys as well. So so do that. And also as well, just when you're on Google yourself, just searching for things to do with financial services, look at the kinds of ads that appear and think, well, which one would I click on? And if one stands out in particular, I think, well, why would I click on that one? What is it they've put in their wording that makes it more attractive? So, you can learn from looking at other people's ads, both in financial services and in other sectors as well. If you're searching for, next time you're searching for some legal advice or something, look at the lawyers' ads that come up and think, well, why would I click that one rather than that one? And the more of that you do, the more you'll be learning the kind of things that make an ad more, punchier and more clickable than average. So the next one is people not having enough ad groups. So this is linked to the point I was just making just now about having to have multiple ads and linking each ad to a small number of keywords, because it's ad groups that allow you to do that. So you can think of ad groups, if you like, as like folders within your Google Ads account. And each ad group contains a number of keywords and one or more adverts which are related to those keywords. And by doing that, you can make sure that if someone searches for one of these small number of keywords here, one of these ads over here will appear, and you make sure that those ads are relevant to these keywords. Where people go wrong is they just put all of their keywords and all of their ads into one big ad group. And by doing that, you've got no control over which ad will appear for which keyword. So you might get lucky and someone searches for mortgage broker Bristol and a mortgage broker Bristol advert appears. But if you've also in that same ad group got ads about life insurance in Glasgow, you might get that ad appearing when someone searched for mortgage broker in Bristol. So by splitting it all up into small ad groups and having several, lots of different ad groups, you can make sure that things are structured in a way that means that the right keywords trigger the right ads to appear, and you've got that high degree of relevancy. Again, that's a thing that people often miss, and the reason they miss it is many times it's because the sort of standard setup wizard that you go through when you first create a Google Ads campaign doesn't really steer you towards making lots of ad groups. It kind of leads you to believe you can just dump everything in one ad group into one big bucket, and that everything will still work. And yeah, it will work after a fashion, but it's not going to give you nearly as good a results as if you structure it correctly. And then the final one, and this is one that it's so easy for people to fall into this trap, is that when they set their campaign up, they leave it opted in to something called display select. So to understand this, you need to understand that there are two different networks within Google Ads. There's the search network, which is the one that everyone tends to always think about first of all. So the search network is having your Google Ads appear on the Google search results screen in response to someone searching for something. But Google Ads also allows you to advertise on what's called the Google Display Network. The Display Network is a huge network of third-party websites, not search engines, just ordinary websites, which have opted in to display Google Ads alongside the content on their sites. So these sites could be, anything from huge sites like, a national newspaper like The Guardian or something, down to small individual bloggers' websites. And if they've opted into the display network, then Google Ads will appear alongside their content. And it can be a good way as an advertiser to get traffic, but the traffic you get from the display network tends to be lower quality because someone who clicked on a display ad hadn't gone onto Google and searched. They were reading an article somewhere or reading a newspaper column or whatever, and they happen to see your ad and they happen to click on it. So they're going to be lower quality traffic. It's similar to what I've said in other contexts about the difference between a Google ad and Facebook advertising. Someone who clicks on an ad on Facebook, they just stumbled across your ad, and so they're likely to be lower quality. And it's the same with a display network. People who click ads on the display network, however good your targeting is, they are people who weren't looking at that moment in time. They just happen to come across your advert. So display network is fine, and I'm not saying don't use it, but if you do use it, you really want to keep it all in a separate campaign with its own separate budget and everything, so as you're not spending all of your good money on display traffic rather than search. Now, the problem is when you first set up a brand new campaign, Google will by default have you opted in to include Google Display Network. So the thing I've got on the screen here is a screenshot from the campaign settings. And if you don't make any changes to it, it will have this second box, include Google Display Network, ticked by default. So that means that you'll have a single campaign where your ads are showing on both the search network and the display network. And so what you need to do, either when you're first creating the campaign, or if you've got an existing campaign, you can go back into the settings and change this, is go in and untick the include Google Display Network. And that will mean that all of your budget is going on to that much higher quality traffic from the search network, rather than being potentially hemorrhaged on lower quality stuff from the display network. Okay, just that one change alone could make a huge difference. One tick of the box. And again, it's an example of Google using default settings, which perhaps aren't in the best interest of the advertiser, but will involve Google getting more money from the advertiser. So there we are. Those are the 7 mistakes. I could have probably have made that list at least twice as long, but those are the 7 biggest mistakes, which over the years, I keep seeing in people's accounts when I audit them. And which are relatively easy to correct, and which, if you do correct, are going to have a pretty pretty instant impact on the return on investment that you get from the campaigns if you're already running them. And if you're not running them yet and about to set them up, they'll certainly avoid you wasting a lot of money and give you a much better chance of actually making a profit premium advertising. So I hope that's been useful. I don't see any questions in the comments at the moment, but if anyone has a last minute question, do pop it in there. And as I said before, if you're watching this on the replay and you've got questions about anything I've talked about there, then do put them in. If you haven't already seen, there's lots of free resources on my website around how you can improve your Google Ads campaigns or set them up correctly in the first place. So if you go to the ppcmachine.co.uk/Google-ads, you'll find all of my articles about Google Ads there. As I mentioned, I've got the Predictable Pipeline program. If you're a member of that, there are lots of training courses in there around step-by-step how to set up Google Ads, how to pick the right keywords, how to write good ads, how to structure the account. So if you're watching this and you're a member of the program and you haven't looked at those yet, don't forget to do so. And as always, if you've got any questions on this or anything else, then do pop them underneath this, or just put a post in the Facebook group, and always happy to try and help. So thank you very much for coming along today. I hope this has given you the confidence to go away and improve your Google Ads, or to start advertising on Google Ads if you haven't tried it already. And yeah, have a great rest of the day. Thank you very much.